Baby, come on to me.
Welcome to our YouTube channel titled VCB, Vinyl City Broadcasting, all you doo-wop, street corner, and a cappella aficionados. I'm Marie, the host of VCB, your transit express to rock and roll trivia. I need to run over to the New York City Public Library and pick up a book on keeping the music alive. I'll be in shortly, Rico. Wait till you see the book that I checked out. It's on things we can do to help keep the music alive, just like all of our doo-woppers are trying to do.
So did you get what you were looking for, Marie?
I did, Rico. And you know, Glenn is going to shed some light on this in my interview with him. Every now and then, we're going to change the format of the show slightly. Instead of interviewing a doo-wop legend, we're going to be interviewing someone who is instrumental in keeping our music alive. This month, we're going to be interviewing Glen Fisher, a legend in his own right and radio personality of the doo-wop revival on WJCT out of Jacksonville, Florida. In some circles, he's better known as the King of the Doo-Woppers, who will shed some light on this subject. Glen broadcast out of Jacksonville, Florida, so I did a little research on the city. Here is some interesting trivia. Gary U.S. Bonds was born there. And as you probably know, he had the smash hit Quarter to Three. And Ray Charles lived in Jacksonville in his younger years. Not too shabby. But before we go on into our broadcast studio with Glen, let's look at some of the doo-wop legends he has interviewed on his shows over the years. You want to put those up so our VCB audience can see them, Rico? And then let's play some obscurities in the background. Glen loves his obscurities. Okay, Glen, sorry to keep you waiting. Why don't you tell our VCB audience a little bit about yourself, the format of the show, what time and day it comes on, and how you got started in the radio biz.
Okay, we're ready to go. As we used to do on TV, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Marie, thank you so much for the opportunity, one, to promote my radio show, which is the Doo-Wop Revival, but two, to be able to promote the music. As you know, we're a very small community, we're a very strong community, but we're very small, so any opportunity that we have where we can spread the word about doo-wop music, hey, I'm all in for it, and I know you guys are because of this show, so thank you again very much. The show is on every Sunday night from 8 to 9 o'clock and an encore performance on Monday night. It's a totally different show, but it's a show from the past 5.5 years that I've been doing the Doo-Wop Revival. It's a little bit different than most of the doo-wop shows you'll hear on the radio. There's a lot of obscure music that I play in this show. I mean, very, very obscure. Stuff that I had never heard before, but I spend a lot of time on the computer, on my iPhone, on the tablet. And every time I hear something, I'll save it, and if I don't think I have it, and I'll add it into my my list of music and songs that I'm going to play in the show. So I think that those of you that haven't heard it will enjoy it. It's a tape show, so we do not take requests. I do interviews from time to time, but with only an hour, it kind of narrows the scope that you have. So I've done Kenny Vance, I've done Fred Paris of the Five Satins. I've done about 5 or 6 interviews. And what I'm going to start doing soon on Monday nights, I will do an interview with a guest that'll last the entire hour. I am getting ready today to do an interview with Larry Chance of Larry Chance and the Earls. Fascinating man, great singer, a great ambassador for our music. And that'll be one of the first ones that we do. So I hope that you'll tune into that. How did I get into this business? Oh, boy, you want to hear a good story? When I was growing up, my dad made me a crystal radio set. I had his pair of his old headphones, and it was a crystal set that he built where you just slid the dial back and forth, and you could pick up stations all across the country, basically. And that's how I really get into the music. In high school, I met a guy named Tommy Gamarsh. He was about 3 years older than me, one of my sister's friends. He had an incredible music collection that was just unbelievable. He's the one that really got me thinking, hey, I want to be a disc jockey. I moved from New Hampshire down to Massachusetts, went into the service, got out of the service, and I wanted to do something in radio and TV. My goal, obviously, to be a disc jockey. So I went to work for WTIC in Hartford, where I was a mail boy. I did all the things you needed to do. They convinced me and talked me into going to school at Leland Powers in Boston, Massachusetts. And while I was at Powers, it was radio, television, and theater. I used to listen to a disc jockey on the old MIT radio station, WTBS, which Ted Turner eventually bought. And it was Uncle T, and it was all done in echo, and it was really off the wall, but he played great music. Come to find out, Uncle T was Tommy Gamarsh, the same guy that wanted to get me into the music. Well, I got out of school. I got a job writing television here in Jacksonville, Florida, as a weekend sports anchor for the NBC affiliate. Well, let's fast forward ahead 25 years. I retired from television. The only radio I've done is sports talk radio, because I was a weekend sports anchor, then I was a sports director. Then the last 3 years, I anchored the news. Well, I got out of the television business because the television station was no longer doing news. So 3 months went by. We got a new NFL franchise in Jacksonville. They needed someone to sell their premium seats and their suites. So for 15 years, I worked for the NFL Jaguars, doing what I just told you, selling suites and club seats and having a ball. Well, I retired in 2010, and one of the guys that I used to work with in television said, hey, I'm over here at WJCT. How would you like to do a doo-wop show? Well, the rest is history. I've done it. Started out with an hour show, and now we do another show on Monday night. And I can't tell you, how thrilled I am to be able to do that. Like I said, at the end of every show, I like to tell people, together we really are keeping that music alive. We really are. And I'm telling you, it's just a small group of us, and together, that's what we're doing right now, is we're keeping the music alive.
What a diverse background you have, Glenn. And working for the Jaguars for 10 years? Pretty cool. Appreciate the overview of the show. And like you said, let's keep the music alive. Now, do you have a chat room, a request line, or a newsletter that people can sign up for?
Marie, I do not take requests, as I said, so there's no request line, but I do take requests by email. My email is very easy to remember. It's duop.revival@yahoo.com. You can make comments about the show. You can send me an email to request a song. You can tell me what you like, what you don't like. Anything you want to do, I will welcome that, and I do get quite a few emails. One of the other things that I have is a newsletter. I know you guys recently subscribed, and I hope that you enjoy it. It started about 3.5 years ago as a way for me to promote the show, to let you know what songs I was playing in that particular night. Well, it's really morphed into more than that. I really work hard at creating news and notes and links and tell you what's going on in the doo-wop world. I found a video the other day of the Dells that was done about, 7 or 8 years ago. I had not seen it. And so I take that, I save it, and I'll put it in the newsletter and link it. So you click in that link and it takes you to this 13-minute video that won many awards and gives you a lot of depth and information about that great group. So I put a lot of that information into my newsletter, and I ask people, that read the newsletter. I ask people that listen to the show, send me any links, any information you have, any news you have, because I like to keep it updated, and I think I do that, and I think you guys have realized that from the couple of weeks that you've had the opportunity to subscribe to it. The newsletter also gives me the opportunity to get out there and find people that maybe haven't been involved in our music and get them involved. I'll find people that'll just come across the newsletter on Facebook. I post it to about 25 sites on Facebook. I'm approaching 500 subscribers all around the world, really. I'm in 3 different countries. So it really makes me feel good. And every now and then someone will discover this newsletter and not know anything about doo-wop, which I find very ironic and very, very fulfilling, because we're getting them involved. They get involved. I'll end up getting more emails from them, and we'll talk about the business and about the doo-wop music, about the radio show. And that's what makes it all worthwhile, because, you know, I'm living the dream in my retirement. Something I wanted to do when I was a kid. I don't start doing it until I'm in my 70s. So that's the great thing about that.
I looked up your online newsletter while you were talking, Glenn, and I really appreciate the trivia you share about the different groups and their songs, and how you mix it up so nicely every week. You really know what you're doing, Glenn, and we're glad you're living your dream. I like the way you summed up our music. It's about love, heartbreak, memories, and we all can relate to that. And don't break my heart, Rico. I know we both appreciate the groups we've listened to, some for over 50 years now, that are still out there performing, continuing and keeping the music alive.
One of the great things about being retired and doing this show is that I get to travel up and down the East Coast, really around the country, to catch some of the great shows that are going on. There are a lot of entertainers that are still going strong. Willie Winfield and the Harp Tones, Fred Parris and the Five Satins, although Fred has cut back a little bit recently. Larry Chance and the Earls, who I'm getting ready to see at Late East. The great thing is that the groups are still singing, and but they're getting older. So we, disc jockeys, you doing your show, have to find a way to keep the music alive. And every time I go somewhere, I talk to the entertainers and I ask them, guys, what can we do to keep the music alive? And one of the things is to try to get the young people involved in our music. Kenny Vance has told me several times that he thinks this music will go on forever. And I agree with him, because of just the nature of the music. It's about love. It's about heartbreak. It's about memories, and it's music you can understand. Our music, to me, and our music goes back to the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, when it was written and done by some of the former performers, some of the real older performers. And that's where, you know, we have to keep this music alive. And one way is to get the young people involved. So if any of you out there are watching this and you're young, take some time and listen to the music. Go to some of the shows. I put on a show recently. I had about 5 or 6 people there that were in their 20s and early 30s, and that really made me feel good that that these people are starting to turn out, because we need you to keep the music alive. We need people like myself and all the disc jockeys and people like you, Marie, that are doing this show. To whatever we can do, let's keep this music alive, because there is nothing like it. I had the lens cap on.
All of Glenn's information will be posted on our last slide. And remember to check out his on-demand page if you've missed any of his shows. We need to get out of here, Rico. It's 2:45.
Hey, what the train can I catch to go to Jacksonville? You know, I want to meet this guy who calls himself the king of the doo-woppers.
Boom, boom, boom.